A little over a year ago, this guy, it looked like he could take Joe Biden's place at the top of the Democratic ticket, and now he's forced out of office. He announced his resignation today because of this, well, officially a sexual harassment scandal. But the bar has been so lowered that after this, I think a lot of people are vulnerable. Who knows who exactly is behind this thing? I think it's a lot deeper than anybody realizes. There are a lot of reasons to not like Cuomo, okay? The COVID mismanagement. At one point, actually about 6 months ago, I called for his resignation. Making $5 million in the middle of a pandemic. But this sex harassment thing, there's something very odd. Some of us believe that the bar has been so lowered that it's going to make a lot of people vulnerable, including maybe people like Justice Kavanaugh, people we like, people we love, people who we want on the court, people who we want in the White House. There's something wrong about this case, this sex harassment case against Governor Cuomo. We're going to get into that in a moment. Look, again, I have no use for the guy, but this culture that we're in right now is a scary one, and anyone could go down in this kind of climate. He made it official today, though. Everybody thought it was coming, except me, actually. I thought he might fight, but no, he gave in.
This situation, by its current trajectory, will generate months of political and legal controversy. And wasting energy on distractions is the last thing that state government should be doing. And I cannot be the cause of that. The best way I can help now is if I step aside and let government get back to governing. And therefore, that's what I'll do. And my resignation will be effective in 14 days.
It's wild. Again, last year they were talking about this guy taking Joe Biden's place. Not because of any great decisions that he was making, but he seemed to look good while he was making some pretty awful decisions. Wearing the shirt, doing a briefing for 2 hours. He was addicted to the attention. And for a while there, he really had it made. So there are a lot of reasons to not like this guy, okay? But the sexual harassment stuff, I'm sorry, I'm very, very skeptical. I think something else is going on. Now, just before he resigned, his lawyer went before the cameras and made a pretty compelling case that the accusers, well, these are false allegations. Take a look.
There is then Alyssa McGrath. And this photo was included as part of the Attorney General's report. It's a photo of the governor at a holiday party. And Miss McGrath is wearing the black, and Brittany Camiso is on the other side. And how the report portrayed this photograph is that the governor put his hands around the rib cage just below their breasts, as though there was something wrong with this photo. And I just simply ask everybody to look at this. Is this something that you think is evidence of improper behavior by the governor?
What do you think? Is it? It's not. This was actually, though, included as evidence of sexual harassment by Cuomo against these women. This is a standard photograph, folks. This is how people pose for pictures. It happens all the time. Politicians, non-politicians. If he has a problem, where is Joe Biden right now? We've all seen the images of that guy. All right, I want to show you this. Now, according to the Attorney General of New York State, you're about to see an episode of sexual harassment by the governor. This also was included in the report. Is this sexual harassment as it happened?
There should be no reluctance. This is Dr. Elizabeth Dufort, who is in the appropriate PPE wear. Nice to see you, doctor. You make that gown look good.
Head up a little bit.
Head up.
Close your eyes.
Close my eyes.
Good.
Why do I need to close my eyes? You can question the doctor. That's okay. Why do I need to close my eyes?
For comfort, it might make you tear a little bit.
Okay. If I fall asleep?
Then we'll have you sit down. Head up a little bit.
That's it?
Yeah,
That's it?
Okay.
Nothing else?
that's all.
So according to the state attorney general, what you just witnessed was a moment of sexual harassment. Did you miss it? I did. Now, he said, you look good in that gown, or you make that gown look good. That is sexual harassment, according to the world we live in today. Now, he may have been a little full of himself at this encounter, but the doctor in the garbs there came forward to tell her story, and the attorney general and all those lawyers were listening. Now, she is one of the 11 women. Now they can say 11 women. Take a look at the report. This is state entity employee number 2. She was shocked that the governor had made such a comment on national television. Nobody watching was shocked, by the way. State entity employee number 2's colleagues remembered state entity employee number 2 saying that the governor's comments were inappropriate and had made her feel uncomfortable. We found state entity employee number 2 to be credible, both in demeanor and substance. Credible about what? Credible about her incredible story that she was just sexually harassed? That makes absolutely no sense. But this person here, this doctor, is now one of the 11, and they can say 11 people came forward against the governor. Now, I know some of the allegations are more serious, and I'll get to that in a little bit, because even the most serious allegations fall apart upon scrutiny. The governor's lawyer today.
They just kept pointing to 11 women, and it was quite clear to me that they didn't know what the actual claims were. And then it just gets repeated over and over again by the media when they haven't done their homework, rolled up the sleeves, and learned the facts.
She's absolutely right. That's a mob for you. Media mob, political mob. No time to read anything. That's boring. Let's get on Twitter and say stuff. That's fun. That's fun. Nobody seems to know much about Lindsay Boylan. Well, let me tell you about her. She was the original accuser. She's also, on the surface, addicted to attention. She ran for office twice in 2 years, once for Congress, lost by 50 points. Then for county executive, or Manhattan Borough president, as we call it here in the city, lost by 20 points. She has some frustrations. She didn't like the way she was treated. Take a look at this. She let them know that she was a force to be reckoned with. She texted somebody in the governor's office, "Absolutely not helpful. Please relay that while we are okay, I see what the point is here and I will find ways to respond. Life is long and so is my memory and so are my resources." Now, she was upset that because of COVID, she was running for office and the governor actually limited the amount of time you could submit signatures to get on a ballot. And that hurt her politically. Here's the message. I think unmistakable takeaway is, you're doing this to me. I'm going to get back at you guys. I'm going to get back at you guys. Now to the most serious accuser. We went through this yesterday, but I think it bears repeating. This is Brittany Comiso. You won't see her in this picture because it's blurred out. The New York Post took this and ran with it because it was in the AG's report. Wow, creep. That's one heck of a word. Why is he a creep? Why? Because he's smiling next to a girl who's younger than he is? I don't know, but when you look at the picture in its full context, is that a creep? What is she thinking? Now, she alleges this photograph was taken just after he groped her. I don't believe that. I'm gonna say it. People are afraid to say things because they're afraid that the mob will come after them. That's why they join mobs, because there's protection inside the mob. We are supposed to suspend our abilities to judge, to evaluate. This does not make any sense, people, at all. Show me what's next.
I think that this picture demonstrates a comfort level and someone who wanted a selfie with the governor. And she sent this selfie to her friend, and there is a footnote. Her friend, her very good friend, Melissa McGrath, who actually said, "I'm so jealous of the picture."
Context, perspective. This lawyer was very good today, former federal prosecutor. And now she sums up.
I think that women should be believed, and they should be treated fairly. I also believe that men should be believed and treated fairly. All people should be given that. And everybody should have a chance to respond. And everybody should be scrutinized with what they say by facts, context, and evidence. That hasn't happened here. Our country has a rule of law. I believe in the rule of law. Not mob mentality and not media mentality. The governor deserves to be treated fairly, and that did not happen here.
She's right, and that's because the mob that's controlled by, I don't know actually who unleashed the mob this time, but I have a theory that Joe Biden is probably more nervous than ever before. We all saw the way he behaved, and they tried to say that's just Joe being Joe. I think this guy is owned, and this is a way to keep him in line. And perhaps this is also a way to punish Andrew Cuomo, because he came a little bit too close to the sun last summer.
We have a person who is very capable, a very capable backup, if you will, not vice president, but if something would change.
He could walk into that convention and walk out as the Democratic nominee.
People could now start over and make a decision on who they'd want as the Democratic nominee. And this is no shade on Joe Biden, but you know who I think they'd pick? I think you know who I think.
Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah.
Just last year. Once again, the person on the left is the key accuser against Andrew Cuomo. Apparently she was going through a divorce at the time. That really is not relevant, but there was financial pressure that she was under, and there was tension in the office about her work hours. There could have been a performance issue. But again, I'd like to listen to the attorney's summation of this photograph.
This photo was included as part of the Attorney General's report. It's a photo of the governor at a holiday party, and how the report portrayed this photograph is that the governor put his hands around the rib cage just below their breasts, as though there was something wrong with this photo. And I just simply ask everybody to look at this. Is this something that you think is evidence of improper behavior by the governor?
No, of course it isn't. But this is evidence of improper behavior by the president. We'll be right back.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.